Hello, everyone. Welcome. Today is December 7th, 2022. I am Solid Blue Sister, and this is My Turn to Talk. And today is Hump Day. And welcome, Grid. Welcome, you're number one. Frankie, you're number two today. And Damien, again, welcome back. You are number three. And everyone over on any streaming platform, welcome. And again, I apologize for signing on late. Podbean had me sign in twice. So I do apologize. I'm late. That usually is late. Hey, Blunt Ninja, welcome. Let's spit. Welcome. You're a new person. Who are you? Welcome. How are you today? And Minnesota, how are you? Hey, Saba, welcome. Look at your new name. Okay, so let me stop this. All right, welcome everyone. Welcome. So today is friends. Stay in touch. And it's when I posted yesterday's show about dimming your light, there are always topics inside of topics inside of topics. So I kind of wanted to touch on this. So this is kind of like a part two, sort of, kind of, but not really of yesterday's show. But I want to talk about friends and staying in touch because I find that when you go through life, depending upon who you are, you tend to let some friends go. You tend not to stay in touch. So, you know, as my outline said, some people are able to maintain friendships through the years, others not so much. Is that you? Do you lose touch or you don't put in the effort? How important are friendships to you? And for me, I take friendships seriously. Um, there are some friends that I've let go because we've all cleaned house. Hey, Shelby, welcome. We've all cleaned house. We've all gone through where, for whatever reason, we've let friends go. But there are some people who they let their friends go in lieu of other things. And when I say that, I mean, and if I'm stepping on any toes, and I know some people are going to want to push back on me on this one. Let's see, Damien says, couldn't stay on front last time. Government switched our power. No problem, Damien. I'm glad you are back. And Blunt says, I always put an effort into friendships. Okay, so, I have heard over the years that, oh well, I got married, so, or I'm dating this guy, or I'm hanging out with this girl, or I mean, they have reasons to me that are not good reasons not to have a friendship. Just because you're married, and I totally understand your family is important, they come first, whatever. But does that mean that you have to stop being friends with someone? Does that mean that you even allow your partner? And this is where I was saying, kind of piggybacking off of yesterday's show, is do you allow other people to dictate who you can and cannot see? Are you in a relationship with someone who wants you to let go of someone because they're dating you or you're married, whatever? I mean, you were friends with that person first, right? And some people let go of friendships, and the person that you're letting go, and I'm not saying you're letting go because they are bad for you or anything like that. I'm saying some people let go of friendships because of another relationship. And sometimes those friends that you're letting go, they do miss you, and then you may not run into them until 10, 20 years later, you know, and for some people it isn't the same. Is it the same? Welcome, Konu Ephraim. I apologize if I did not say your name correctly. Some people, are able to maintain friendships throughout the years. Hey, Doomsday Podcast, welcome. I am going to bring people up in a minute, and I will bring you up, Konu. Um, so some people are able to maintain friendships, and some people just don't. I'm proud to say that I've had friends that I've had for 30 plus years. I don't see them all the time. We live in different states, but we're always picking up the phone and we're talking. And then when we do get together, it's like like we just saw each other yesterday. Then again, I'm also proud of the friendships that I've made in the last year. In the last 6 months. I think friendships, and this is just me. This is my own, what I just think. Other people may push back on me, but I think friendships are important. And just because you're in a relationship does not mean that you have to put your friendships on the back burner. I think if you're a guy and you always went fishing with your friends, the first Tuesday in June, whatever, and you all, went on a 4-day trip, just because you get married, to me, doesn't mean that you cannot still do that. Especially if your friends are still inviting you to do it. On the same thing is, if not that, women fish too, but and if you're a girl, and you and your girls hung out, and you all always did something. Just because you're married does not mean that you should not be able to do it. Just because you have a family doesn't mean that you should not be able to do it. Yes, you may have to change some things around, but I don't think that you should let your friendships go because of your relationship. So do people agree with me? Do you disagree with me? And Konu, I will bring you up now. Hold on one second. Okay, welcome. First time on my show. Welcome. If you're there. Okay, I don't see you. All right. Okay, Blunt says, even if it's been a while, I'll text you, wish you happy birthday or holiday. Yes. Let's see. I still have high school friends, grit. So do I have friends that I've known since grade school, and you guys have seen Feisty One on here. We've known each other since we grew up across the street from each other, and we've known each other since when she moved over to the neighborhood, since when we were 6. So I have known her for quite some time. Let's see. Brina says, I'm not the greatest at consistent contact, but I keep my friends forever and value them like real family. I would never let someone tell me who to be cool with. And then Damien says priorities change. Yes, Damien, priorities change. And I understand that. But are you saying priorities change where you let go of a friendship? Welcome, Crucible, and welcome back, Gnome. So are you saying that your priorities change where you will let go of a friendship? Brina says it's understandable to have to shift around to the amount of time you spent with friends prior to getting into a relationship. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. I agree with you. Well, thank you, Brina. Shelby says, all my friends were single. When I got married, they sort of left. Okay, did they sort of leave or did you not have time for them? So did they drift off because you were that married person who were always, well, my husband this, my husband that, and you just never like, well, can we hang out on Saturday? So did they leave or did you leave? Yeah, Brina, he said that he wasn't able to pop up. Okay, Blunt says, I have a male friend I've known since second grade. And then Damon says, sometimes yes. And hello back to Crucible and hello back to Gnome. They drifted off and didn't come around. Okay, so Shelby, let me ask this. Did you invite them? Because I have had friends where I will give you a particular example. There's this thing in LA called the Alley, and I'm pretty sure there's probably places like that all over. I know New York has it, and I know Chicago has it. It may not be called the Alley, but it's one of those places where you go and you can get clothes and knickknacks for cheap. I've gotten some really cool knockoff items there, but you get clothes or whatever, uh, where you can haggle with prices and things like that. And when I moved away from LA to where I live now, I would always say, hey, you all want to go to the Alley, blah, 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 blah. And they're like, yeah, I really want to go, but my daughter's doing this. I have to check this. But my husband's doing this. I have to check this. Well, my son is doing this. Well, my mother-in-law, whatever. And I said, oh, okay. I would extend the invitation again. Well, I have to check this. I have to check that. They never got back to me. I still went. I went with other people. I still went. I still did, and went and had fun. But then later on, they would say, "Well, yeah, you were supposed to take us whatever," and I'm like, "Well, you were supposed to get back to me. It's not my responsibility to follow up with you. You're supposed to follow up with me. If you invite me someplace and I say I have to check to see, if that's a good day or whatever, I will call you back and say, hey." Yeah, that's a good day. What time do you want to go? Or I can't go on Sunday. Can we go on Saturday or something like that? I think that if someone invites you someplace and you tell them that you have to check, to see if it's a good day or good time, then the responsibility falls back on you. I should not have to keep running up behind you. And if I extend that second invite and you still don't get back to me, I'm going and I'm moving on. So, and I've been told by some of these people, well, that wasn't cool. That wasn't being nice. That wasn't a good friend. Well, yeah, I think that I was. I invited you twice. You didn't follow up with me. And those are the people that over time I have, have drifted away from because I put the invite out there and I'm like, well, if they really want to hang out with me, they really want to do this, then they would get in contact with me. So anybody agree with that? Anybody disagree with that? And I want to bring out also what Blunt says. I have a male friend I've known since second grade. I have male friends. I have male friends that I talk to on the phone. My husband knows I have male friends that I talk to on the phone. He has female friends that I know that he talks to on the phone. I'm not in his business. He is not in mine. Do you think that if you're in a relationship, that relationship, married, however you want to put it, do you think that you should stop talking to that opposite sex, just because you are married or in a relationship? Anybody? Let's see. Bringa says, I agree. Makes sense. People will make time and effort if it's important. Yes, I totally agree with that. Anybody? Anybody think that you should let go of your opposite sex friends just because you're in a relationship? And Crucible, are you on the panel? Let's see. Yes, you are. Welcome.
Hi, Solid. Hi, everyone. No, to answer that question, I think that's very immature. I do know some couples that squabble over that kind of a thing, but I think that's indicative maybe of, excuse me, maybe of deeper issues in their relationship that's causing one or the both of them to be suspicious. So if there's grounds,
Well,
then
no,
that's a
I
different
didn't say suspicious. I said just let go of the relationship just because it's the opposite sex, not necessarily
no.
suspicious.
No, of course not. That would
Okay.
be petty and it would be it's very controlling. And that's a slippery slope when you get into a relationship where one party wants to control the other by dictating their behavior and their actions, who you can and can't talk to. That borders on abuse. So, no, I would never be in favor of that. But, the thing about friendships is they're really living organisms and they develop and they ebb and flow over time, and we're not always in the same place. Well, actually, we're never in the same place as we used to be, and neither are our friends. So when we start out early in life, we have lots and lots of friends. Usually, we have lots and lots of friends because we have a lot of things in common. Our lives are very similar back at that age when we're kids and when we're teenagers. We have a lot in common because our lives are almost identical. We do the same things all the time. But as we get older and we grow up and we go to college and we move away and we get married and we do things, now our interests are more diverse and our friendships are going to be more diverse. And I've paid a price. When I was younger, I had many different friendship circles of guys I would hang out with, people I would hang out with. And I spread myself too thin. And I developed a reputation for not returning phone calls, for picking my friends up and putting them down when it was convenient for me. I didn't think I was doing those things, but there's a couple different parties. One group's going to this party, and another group's going to this party. Depending on what I felt like, I would go with that group, and I would get dissed by the other guys in a good-hearted way. But to this day, I went to a reunion about 2 months ago, and I took some good-natured ribbing from some of the guys because of that reputation that I earned probably some 30 or 40 years ago. People still remember. Now, they don't chastise me for it, but I was guilty of it. I was guilty of all the things that they're accusing me of. So you got to be careful with friendships. They're not always going to stay the same, but at the same time, you have to respect people's time. You have to respect them as individuals. And I wasn't real good at it, and people don't forget.
So, did you think from you? I'm trying to phrase this the right way where it makes sense. I mean, I understand what you said. Welcome, GP, and welcome, Power Girl. So, were you like that because you thought that you were Mr. Popular, so you could pick and choose, and people would always ask you to go places?
No, the way I phrased that sounded very egotistical. It just happened that I had high school friends. I had friends I grew up with that I didn't go to high school with. I had friends I met through work. These were just different groups. I saw Brina put down in the chat, cliquish. I understand what she's saying there, but that's more of a high school type of a thing. These were just genuinely diverse friendships where there was no real overlap. One group liked one thing and the other group didn't. I was living in the suburbs at the time, and me and a few guys loved to go downtown. They teased us all the time. There go the downtown kids. They're too good for us. But we wanted to go downtown, and certain groups didn't want to do that. So I went where I wanted to go, and it was just the nature of my life at that particular time. It wasn't like I was picking and choosing. I had the luxury, if that's the right word, of having diverse friendship groups that I could do what I felt like doing that night. And early on, there was a lot of animosity. You're too good for us. You don't stay in the neighborhood, kind of a thing. And so at that point, I lost a couple of friendships over it. You're now moving out of the house. You're taking a job downtown, and now you're moving on, and you're dissing us, and you're looking down your nose at us. And there was none of those things. But I understood the perspective that they had, and I couldn't convince them otherwise. and a couple of guys just walked away from me.
Well, Crucible, you bring up a good point, and I want to come back to that in a minute. But I also want to, because Shelby was answering my questions from before. Yes, several times you invited them. I understand that, and Brina says I agree. Makes sense. Some people make time and effort if it's important. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, only if I haven't interviewed him. What Damien says. Oh boy, and Shelby says that requires a lot of trust in the marriage. I take it you are talking about having friends of the opposite sex and talking to them. Hey, Minnesota. I don't think you should let go of friendships. Blunt says, and Brian says, I don't think you have to let go of friendships of the opposite sex as long as you act the same way in front of them as you do when they're not around. Your partner, Blunt is agreeing. And oh, I cannot do that clicky stuff. I talk to who I want to. Damien says the crucible truth, lifestyle changes over time. They're lost. They sound too sensitive. Brina says the crucible. And everyone, thank you for liking the show. And Brina, they were indeed crucible says. Hey, Ellie, welcome. Okay, so so to Shelby's point about it takes a lot of trust in a relationship. Shelby, I talk to so many people. I mean, I'm involved in so many different things, and I always have been. I've always been someone who has, just had my hands in some of everything. There are people, within Podbean who I talk to, and they are of the opposite sex. And I'm texting them or I'm calling them, whatever. Does that mean that I'm sleeping with them or I'm having an affair with them? Of course not. And the fact that I have a relationship with somebody, and we talked about this before we got married. I mean, because I told him, I said, I have friends of the opposite sex that I talk to. And, depending upon some of them are my friends, some of them I'm going to be working with, whatever. If you're going to have a problem with it, then we don't need to be married, And he said, well, the same for me. I was like, fine. Because I can't be worried about if my husband is talking to another woman and if it's about, work or if even if it's just their friend. Okay, so what? Especially if you knew that person before me. I'm it's like, so I don't have time. I don't have time for that. And then to Crucible, for what you said in terms of, you were working downtown, what have you, that's where I think that not on you, but on your friends. And that's when I say, do you make an effort to maintain your friendships? Because if I were your friends, first of all, I would be happy that you are moving on, that you are doing something that you want to do. So me as the friend, instead of getting pissed off at you and saying, well, you're leaving the neighborhood. I mean, are we supposed to live on Walton's mountain forever? I mean, can we ever get off the damn mountain? So, they should be happy that you're moving on. So that's when I say, are they making the effort to maintain that friendship? Because if you really want to be friends with someone, whether or not they go off to be a movie star and and you're working at 7-Eleven or whatever, if you all are still friends, you all are going to be cool no matter what. No matter what happens, you all are still going to be cool. And I understand whether that person gets married, divorced, whatever, you're going to be cool with that person. So, Crucible, you want to respond? And then Shelby, I am coming to you.
Well, one of the things that I think is kind of interesting about the situation that I'm describing, maybe it's not interesting, but I kind of reflected back on it, and this is not a class thing at all. I saw many of these people at my reunion a few months ago, and we still get on like we did back in the day. So everybody got along great. It was really a fun time. But in terms of, I just lost my train of thought. Can you help me, Solid?
I'm sorry, I was muting
Oh yeah, I'm sorry.
Damien.
So the way the dichotomy kind of broke down was there was a number of guys. I'm referring to the guys now. I didn't really have a lot of female friends back then, but the way it broke down was most of the there was a group of guys that didn't go to college. They went straight to work in whatever vocation that they chose. And then there was another group that went to college and was more adventurous. I don't know if that's the right word. So it kind of broke down around educational lines. And even though it was good natured kidding and whatnot, there's, as they say, there's some truth behind, many of the truth is said in jest. So even though they were kidding with me and with us, they were clearly drawing class lines to say, you're different from us. We grew up the same way, but now you seem different. So we're going to stay over here. And they never left the neighborhood. They hung out at the same park that we hung out at as kids when they were in their early to mid 20s. Every Friday and Saturday night, they'd be hanging out there. People who had a little bit more ambition, and I don't mean that in a derisive way, were out doing other things with groups that they met at college or through their jobs. And there was growth going on there that I think these other guys kind of resented. We still stayed friends, but there was an arm's length thing that kind of developed. And the only thing I can point to is it developed along class lines. Even though we grew up the same blue collar neighborhoods, blue collar families, when we reached that kind of fork in the road, we diverged. And it created a little bit of discomfort for a while.
But that discomfort was because they chose the discomfort, not you. They chose.
True. This is true.
So once again, it's like I said, are we supposed to be on Walton's Mountain forever? Because I have friends that I grew up with who, when I go back home, it's, they're still doing the same thing. If that's what they want to do, that's fine. Whatever. I mean, we still hang out. We still, you know, you know, have fun and whatever. But again, it's like, you know, they chose to do this. I chose to do this, and people do change, you move on, but you make that choice. Do you want to stay in that relationship because that person's now doing this? Do you want to stay in this relationship because, because this person's now doing that? So Crucible, they made their choice. So Shelby, thank you for waiting patiently. And Damien, I am coming to you. So Shelby.
Hello, everyone. I'm I the friends that I grew up with, we don't even talk. I take that back. I talked to one, and that's only because her daughter is a relative of mine. So I talk to her quite often to find out, things about her daughter if I don't get to talk to her daughter. Um, but I mean, anybody else that I grew up with, like Crucible said, there was classes, um, that hung out, cliques, I guess you could say. And my sister was the one, the tomboy. I'll beat you up if you don't, like me or whatever. And so we didn't have very many friends, or at least I didn't, because the siblings of the ones that didn't like her, she beat up, so they didn't like me. So I didn't have a whole lot of friends growing up.
I'm sorry for laughing, Shelby.
I think it's funny too. It's okay.
I'm just getting this visual. Anyway, go ahead.
And so I mean, it's but I mean, to add to the male female friend thing, I think, in my opinion, you can be friends with the opposite sex. I mean, there's no, I mean, there's an automatic line drawn there, especially if both parties are married. I think, that if you're, how do you put it? If you're happy within your marriage, there's no problem, and if the partners are, trust each other, then there shouldn't be a guessing game of whether or not they're sleeping, in quotations, with the other party.
But okay, so Okay, so let me ask this, Shelby. So if you walked into the room, and your husband was on the phone, um, and it was apparent that he was talking to another woman, not because he's saying, "Oh, I love you" or whatever, would you hang out in the kitchen or in the room or wherever you all are, just to see where that conversation is going to go, or will you just tune it out or just leave?
I would leave the room. I mean,
Okay.
he gets that respect from me because he gives that respect to me.
Okay. Okay. All right. All right.
Now, I'm not saying he's not nosy and asks who I'm talking to, but as far as when I'm on the phone, he doesn't tend to stay and hover.
Okay. All right. All right. Damien, thank you for waiting patiently. You still there? Damien?
Hello, can you hear me?
Okay, I can hear you
Hello?
now. Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. Now, the thing about the friendship is, like Crucible said, I have a group of friends when I was younger and still saying it to my parents. Over time, priorities change and you lose interest and also what I'm looking for now, conversation change. Because when I was younger with my younger group of friends, we had nice conversations. And after that, I went to university with a different group of friends and my interest changed. And with the interest that changed, I was still friends with these guys. And the guys from university, interest just grew more. And we had discussions that interested me more. And in saying that, we had similar interests, and we just stayed friends after that. And my wife got to know these friends. And after university, lifestyle changed and priorities changed. And in saying that, it's difficult to have conversations with the old friends I had because they still stuck, or how can I put it now? They still stuck in the rudimentary ways they were when we were younger. So we've nothing to talk about. And with the priorities I have now, it's family first. I have children, I have a wife. They come first. And if my friends want to make an appointment with me, like the friends from varsity I have now, it's difficult for us to structure a date for all of us because they all have their families. But once we come together, it's like as if we had a barbecue yesterday or something. Conversation just flows every day or every month or two. We actually get together like every 3 months at most. And my wife enjoys me being with him. And she is good with, what's his name? Their girlfriends and their wives. And sorry for the language, but I'm from South Africa. Can you guys still hear me?
Yes, yes, we can hear you.
Okay, yeah, and with the friendship group I have now and the friendship group I had, we just how can I put it? I can't say okay. We fell out of interest because interest changed and priorities changed. They still like in the streets chasing girls and that type of thing, and priorities change for me personally, and I can't associate myself with friends like that. But besides that, when we meet each other, then we still have a nice chat, and I'll tell my wife, look here, these are the guys that I've been rolling with back in the day, and we used to chase girls and whatnot. And then my wife would say, okay, now it's fine, you can go with him, but I don't prefer to go with him because the influence is bad. And with the newer group of friends, the influence and the priorities are the same. And the earlier question you had was, do I allow my wife to speak with, or do I allow my wife to, or my spouse to have male friends? And personally, I do, but they must be vetted first because I know our guy thinks he always, we always think,
Are
okay,
you? Did you just say they must be vetted first?
yes,
So okay, okay. You said two words that I'm
okay,
sorry. I have to push back on. You said the word
uh,
allow, and you said vetted. So are you saying that
yes.
you personally have to vet your wife's friends, or if you will allow her to talk to them? I'm just trying.
No,
I'm just trying to understand.
okay. Can I explain myself?
Yes. Go ahead.
Okay, if every guy knows, ne, uh, if your girlfriend has a male best friend, the only reason he's a male best friend is because he wants to get in the pants and he can't, but if the opportunity arises, he will take it. So what I usually do, I tell my wife, okay, now you have these guy best friends, it's fine. And then I would say, okay, let's invite them over for a drink or something. And then what I mean by fitting, there will be in South Africa we have a braai culture. It's like we make a fire and then we make food over a fire and music is playing and mostly women are with the women and the guys are with the guys. And then I can see how this guy interacts with the other guys and the way he's speaking, and then I can see if he has interest in my wife or not. And then I would tell him, okay, I think this guy kind of likes you, but it's fine. You can still talk to him, but I don't trust him. That's what I mean by vetting. And then my wife would tell me a lot of times she has male colleagues at work, and then these guys would come to office and talk to her, and these guys would buy chocolates for the woman in the office and that type of thing. But when we go shopping for the month's groceries or the week's groceries, and then my wife sees these guys in the shops, and then these guys won't greet my wife because they're walking with their wives. And then I would be like, okay, that's the wrong type of guy in your life. Because I think that guy is trying to get in your pants, and then I'll encourage my wife, look here, just go and say hello to him in front of his wife. Just greet him
Okay.
because he's very friendly at work and he greets you and he buys you chocolates at work. Just go say hello in front of him, in front of his wife, basically.
Okay. All right. Okay. Well, thank you for explaining that. I do want to read what Brina is saying. I'm going to read some of these comments. Damien, I'm going to mute you because you have some background noise there. Okay, so Brina says, hold on, my chat just jumped. I had friends in all different types of cliques, groups. If you're a nice person, I like you. And Brina says that happened when I became a mom. I fell out of touch with some of my friends that didn't have kids. Can't let the crazies around the kids, Salad. No, Brina, you cannot let the crazies. I'm sorry, Brina always says something that I think about when I'm driving, and I'll just start laughing, and she just she just gave me another one. And then Blunt says, Brina, I can never lose a friend. I can never lose a friend after having, I'm assuming you're saying after having a child, that makes me an auntie. Brina, you're right. I lost the only friend I did over the fact my kid could not come with. Okay, y'all. So let's talk about the child thing. Okay. I lost friends after I became a mom, but it was them more so than me, because I'm one of those people where it's like, I'll invite you places, whatever. And if I am in a situation where I cannot go because I don't have a babysitter or something, then I couldn't go, but I would still stay in touch with those friends. And I even talked to them about it, like, well, you have a kid now, so blah, blah, blah. That was their choice. That was their choice to leave the friendship, not mine. So, I mean, do you guys think that having kids is a game changer? That just because your friends have kids or you have kids, can you still make time for your friends? Are you going to go out every week like you used to? No. Because my life changed immediately. One day I was pregnant, the next day I had this kid, and my life completely changed. But I still made time for my friends. So why do you think that is? Do you think that people use that as an excuse not to be friends with you? That, well, you're married now. Well, you have a child. Is it them or is it you? Crucible?
It's probably a combination of both, but my theory is this, because I've experienced quite a bit of it, certainly as I've gotten older, and I've shared a little bit about some of my friendship stories. But without getting overly philosophical, our lives are about a series of transitions, and our friendships are no different. We're never the same. So I think what happens with some people, not everybody, with some people, they have difficulty making the adjustment when the transition takes place, whether it's now you have a child and I don't, or now you're married and I'm not, now you live in the suburbs and I don't. Whatever lines of distinction are being drawn, one or both of the parties doesn't or can't figure out how to make that adjustment and maintain the friendship. Now, the friendship's going to change because other elements have been introduced: children, marriages, demographics, things like that. But I think Brina might have typed it in the chat earlier. If it's important enough, you'll make the time. It's going to be in a different category. I like to use pages 1, 2, and 3. Maybe you're not on 1 anymore, but you don't need to be out of the book altogether. You can still be on page 2 or 3, and the complexion of the relationship will change, but it doesn't have to go away. I just think it's my own personal theory. People can't figure out how to make that transition with you. So they feel the only choice is to leave it behind, and they rationalize it. Well, we're not going to have anything in common. I'm spending all my time with my child, so I want to be with parents that also have children. I don't have a car, so I can't get to the suburbs. Whatever they've determined the conclusion to that relationship is going to be, they then go about the process of rationalizing it. So in my limited experience, I have found that people don't know what to do with the change in the relationship, so they walk away from it. I don't know if anybody else has experienced that or not.
No, you make a good point. I'm actually agreeing with you, Crucible. See, you make a good point, but again, so that's why I say it's them, it's not you. If you have to rationalize why you cannot talk to me, or I have to rationalize why I cannot talk to you, then the person who's trying to, rationalize that is the one that's in the wrong. You know, so Shelby says, Sabrina, you're right. I lost the only friend I have. Over the fact that my child could not come with. Shelby, that's a shame. I personally take friendship breakups tough. Shelby says, I do also. I have a recent friendship breakup and it's been hard on me, but I cannot deal with the toxicity. If it's toxic, then I'm gone. Brina, oh my God, me too. I take it harder than boyfriend breakups. Let's see. Damien saying, all to grit. And then GP says, I lost friends after dating their sister. That's interesting. And Damien says, kids change the game and priorities. Brina says, nope, no more fun unless it's scheduled. And even when you go out, you want to come home early. Not unless you have those children from hell. Okay, and Grit is talking to Damien in Afrikaans. Let's see. Okay, so I want to bring something else up. And Shelby, I'm gonna go to you first. Did you want to make any comments? Because I wanted to bring up a conversation that Crucible and I had. I think is fitting for this show, and GP may want to pop in on this one too. Shelby, did you want to make any comments?
I want to know what you're going to bring up.
Okay, so Crucible, can I bring up the tattoo thing?
Of course.
Oh, okay. All right. So, I mean, and I'm not going to name any names, or even though I did just say GP, but whatever. And Crucible, I did say Crucible. But okay. So, um, since I was not on that particular show, but I thought it was a good topic for a show, and I can only is this is a to me it's a perfect time for this show. So, Crucible, you want to give the background, and then people can tell give their whatever. So go ahead.
I was on a podcast the other evening, and GP Man was on as well, and there were some other people, and there was a person who had joined the show and was in the chat and finally came up into the panel and had a dilemma on his hands. He had been dating a woman for many years, I think it was 7, and she still had a tattoo from her previous boyfriend. And even though she claimed that it was in her past, and that's why she didn't want to remove it. It shouldn't make any difference to him that the tattoo is physically there. She doesn't have any feelings anymore. And he even, I think, said there's ways to cover it up. You can do different things. And she refused to. And he's at the point where, for whatever reason, it's taken this long for him to reach his breaking point, and he's apparently going to have some kind of a conversation with her later this week. They have a child together, so that complicates things. But we got into this very interesting conversation about what you should or shouldn't be able to tell your girlfriend or boyfriend about what they can and can't keep from previous relationships, whether it's jewelry, whether it's clothes, whatever it happens, whether it's a tattoo. And we actually, I think, helped this person kind of open up his eyes a little bit to what I think he's been suspecting he should do all along, but is now finally maybe getting around to it. Hopefully we nudged him a little bit, but it was an interesting conversation about, the tattoo was the focal point, but it could be anything really. So that's kind of the quick and dirty backdrop.
Okay. So Davian says, where is the tattoo? Did you ever find out where the tattoo was?
I think it was on her leg or her arm.
Okay.
It wasn't like in an intimate place or anything like that.
Okay. Now, when Crucible and I had this conversation, I was, y'all know me, I got to play the devil's advocate. I got to play both sides. Okay. So you have, hey, Dee, welcome and welcome to Woody. Okay. So you have this tattoo. To play devil's advocate, y'all. Now, I know some of y'all gonna say, "Solid, come on now," but I'm just saying, you have this from this previous relationship that you want your partner, male or female, to get rid of. I understand that. My argument was, so if you bring a child into this relationship, am I supposed to get rid of this child? Because there are some people who cannot accept other people's children. They're like, well, can't they live with their mother? Can't they live with the father? Do you get rid of that? I also brought up to Crucible. So what if my ex gave me a vintage car or a vintage whatever? Am I supposed to get rid of that too because it offends you? So I'm just throwing that out there. So I'm a Shelby.
Okay. This is a good example here. We are a good example. I don't know if most of you know, my current marriage is my second marriage. I do have a son from a previous marriage. My husband has never, ever, and would never, ever in a million years consider my son to not be his son. My son is left us when he turned 18, and he is now 26. He yesterday, as a matter of fact, we have, in other words, we've been trying to get contact with him, and not me personally, but my daughter. He did accept a friend request from her yesterday. Okay, so back to this story. Some people are like that. I've known several people to say, well, why doesn't he just, why did he didn't have to accept your son. That's true. He did not have to accept my son, But not only did he accept him, but his whole family accepted him as if he was their, a part of their family, grandparents, aunts and uncles, everything. So, I mean,
Okay, but Brina is saying a child versus a tattoo, though.
I'd have to agree with I don't know. Tattoos got to go. Tattoos got to go.
I'm playing both
Well,
both sides
no.
because it's something from a previous relationship. And yes, I understand that tattoo. Every time you turn over in bed, that may be staring right at you. I understand that. But again, I brought up the child because that child is they're walking around. They could look like the spitting image of the ex. I mean, and I purposely said a child because again, that is something from that is a product of a previous relationship. So does that mean
I don't think you. No, you can't just because of that. I mean, that's part of her past. I mean, that would be like if the tables were turned, would you get rid of that tattoo if she wanted you to?
Are you asking me? Would I ask my husband to get rid of his tattoo? No,
just in general. I mean, would that? I mean, I don't think she should get rid of it because of the simple fact that is part of her past.
And that's where I come down. It's part of your past. I mean, again, I mean, it's part of your past. And Crucible, can you say how long had they been dating since she's had this tattoo?
7 years. And the thing that was, and you can all, have whatever, ruminate, you can all be amused at that. We were kind of taken aback by that length of time. But what we finally came down to, and this is where I kind of pushed back on you, Solid, and maybe a little bit on Shelby, it was causing her partner great discomfort. And yet she did not yield to his feelings because she felt like she presented a solid enough case. It's in the past. But if it's bothering you, I want to make that right. And that's where the dilemma came in. But yes, 7 years was the relationship.
Okay, so Crucible, then so let me ask this, and Damien, I am coming to you. So Crucible, let me ask this. She did not make an effort to change it. She says that it's in the past. And that's where I want to bring up a child again, because there are some people who do not accept other people's children. So if I were to say, well, is there a reason why your son or your daughter can't live with their mother? And it's like, it bothers me. Every time I saw that kid, it would just, he or she would just bother me. So, and you're saying, well, this is my child, yes, we had, but this was a past relationship. This has nothing to do, but your child, I don't want your child living in this house. And there are people, again, like I said, who do that. So isn't that fair to say? I mean, should I, do you leave the relationship because of that?
Well, I didn't just remember. GP typed in the chat. I'd completely forgotten this. The tattoo, and this may be a subject for debate for people. Does the nature of the tattoo matter? Apparently, the tattoo was this ex-boyfriend's name.
Oh, well, that's a whole different ballgame.
That's putting in your face,
That's a different ballgame. I agree. She should at least try to go get it covered up. I mean, you don't go around with somebody's name. I mean, I've got more respect than that than to go. I mean, my husband and I have tattoos, and we won't put each other's names on our bodies. I mean, what if something was to happen to our marriage? Why would I want to go to another marriage and be like, oh, I have this tattoo of him, and it's got his name on it? I mean, that would be stupidity on my part.
Well, can't you turn Leslie into Lloyd? I'm sorry. No, I'm just laughing. I'm sorry. Now this has just gotten funny.
Can I just say something quickly, Sally?
Yes, Damien. I was but I was trying to stop laughing.
Nah,
Go ahead.
look here.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
This tattoo thing is wild. Just imagine, your husband has a tattoo of an ex-lover on his hand, maybe his right hand. Would you ever want to hold his right hand walking down the street, and on his right hand is tattooed, uh, "This was Mary's property."
Wait, it says what?
Say for instance, your husband, he had a girlfriend back in the day. Her name was Jennifer, and on his right hand there's tattooed, "This is Jennifer's property." Now your husband is taking you out on a romantic date one night, and as you're strolling down the street, he wants to hold your hand, but now you have his right hand in his hand, and on his right hand is written Jennifer's property. Wouldn't that disturb you a little
Okay,
bit?
to be perfectly honest with you, that would, but could I make him? Would I? Could I make him get rid of it? No, but would it bug me? Yeah, it would.
Okay. So you would allow him to carry on in the street with his trademark on his hand, saying,
I guess
"This
that's
is Jennifer's property," even though you and your husband is married. That's a bit wild, eh? Having an ex-lover's a name on your body.
but I cannot make him get rid of it. And just like he could not make me get rid of that tattoo. Okay, Damien, can you go into a place where your dog isn't barking or?
Okay, let me just mute this quickly.
Okay. So I mean, Damien, I understand what you're saying. It would bug me, but could I make him get rid of it? I mean, I can't make him get rid of it. So, GP, you want to say something?
Yeah, how's everyone doing?
Hey, GP.
Okay, so the thing me and Christopher were trying to tell this guy, he was a younger guy, and this was his only serious relationship. We're trying to tell him that, hey, I mean, if a person really loves you, they'll do whatever it takes to be there for you and make the relationship worthwhile. And the whole thing was, it was causing him distress. And I mean, you see another guy's name on the woman you love. I mean, not to mention that the ex had a kid with her previously before he had a kid with her. So there's already that burden on him. But secondary, the actual visual name of a reminder, hey, this guy used to be with my woman. But I mean, the fact that she wouldn't even, try to alternate the tattoo or something like that, it was causing him distress. And then that's just a form of disrespect. So we convinced the guy to kind of get out of the relationship, lick his wounds, and just, be a good cat, land on your feet, and go elsewhere to someone else who would appreciate you.
So GP, then let me ask this: where does it stop? And when I say that, I mean, does it mean that every time if he stays with her or you stay with him or whatever, she's cleaning out her closet or he's cleaning out his closet, and there's this bracelet or there's a necklace or something that your ex-girlfriend or ex-boyfriend you gave you, does it come to the point where you're going to sit through and go through all of my stuff and question everything that, well, where did you get this? And where did you get this? Where you're going to have, you're going to throw out, what everyone has done, so.
I would say that's a little heavy, but I mean, actual scarring, actual, physical representation. You're seeing that every day. No matter, you can't take that off. You really have to go get that either altered or physically laser removed. I don't know how they take tattoos now, but it's another level. A physical item can be tossed out, can be given away, but something like that's actually on your body. I mean, that has more weight than just something. Let's say an old boyfriend's T-shirt or such, or an old girlfriend's poster that she left behind, and then or like girls like to live, they like to leave jewelry behind for other women to find. I don't know why they do that, but my house, I live alone, and I got a bunch of jewelry. I don't even know like whose it is. I just have it in a little box if that day ever comes. But like I said, it's just that's a different weight.
Okay, all right. Dr. Jed, before I come to you, I want to catch up on some of these comments. Let's see, Crucible, yes, they tried to remove it, but failed. Let's see, if someone doesn't accept your child, Brina says they can kick rocks. Oh boy, Brina, you just got me laughing here. Brina says she should want to get rid of for him if it bothers him. I see it as a little disrespectful. Damon says, nah, my spouse will have to get rid of it. Brina says, I suggest a cherry blossom tree. They're so pretty. To cover it up. Damien says, to put insult to injury, imagine the tattoos on the girl's lower back, stating this is Jason's property. First of all, I would never have a tattoo. And number two, if I did have a tattoo, it would not claim that I'm anybody's property. Okay, D says, come on, Salad. A tattoo is very different from a sweater. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. But I can't see you cannot make me do something. I cannot make him do something. That's my point. Is it disrespectful? Yeah. Let's see. So awkward. What's wrong, Rita? You're going. Oh boy, you're going down to that lower back area, and it becomes awkward because you see Jason's property when you're going down there. I'm sorry, Dr. Jed. Welcome. You have the mic.
Hey, how's it going?
I'm sorry. Now I'm laughing. Go ahead, Dr. Jed. Welcome.
Thank you very much. How's everybody doing?
Good.
That's good. So where are y'all from?
Different places. Oh boy. The people here are from all over. So did you want to add anything to the conversation?
I just want to say hey, what's going on?
Okay. All right. Well, as you can see, we're just here chatting about a particular topic. So
Yes, I am.
So
Yeah, so I said that's the yes, I am. GP Pam 45. Yes, I am. She's a handful sometimes. I'll tell you that much.
okay. So I'm going to stay on topic here. So did you want to add anything to the conversation?
No, what are you guys talking about?
We're talking about friendships, and we're talking about tattoos. So if
Friendships. Yeah. Okay. Yes. Actually, I can touch base on that. Especially when let's say you have a good friend since I don't know, let's say high school, for example, right? And and then one day your high school friend said, that you keep secrets, like you tell each other, everything, right? But they say you tell them something, but you tell them don't tell anyone this, blah 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 blah. Well, one day, say your friend decides to go behind your back and stab you behind your back and tells everyone, "Oh, so and so, to hear that, right?" That's not true friendship, right there. And
okay,
so goes
we're
right.
We're not really talking about true friendship. We're talking about just basically just maintaining a friendship and maintaining.
Yeah, I'm talking about like maintaining friendship when someone, like goes behind your back and and you tell them don't tell anyone, and then they go behind your back and they say, well, that's not true. That's not being a good friend, right? So that's why you got to learn. You have to figure out like who are your friends and who aren't your friends.
This is true. You do. You definitely do.
Right? You got to know like you pick your friends, right? You can pick them, but you just can't. You got to know when which crowd to hang out with, which crowd not to hang out with. Right?
Mm-hmm.
You just got to know when to, and sometimes even for yourself, you got to learn to when to keep your mouth shut too once in a while, right? And you're in a group of friends.
This is true. This is true.
Right?
No, you are right, but I do want to go back to the tattoo, and I want to bring up Damien.
I wish I had tattoo right now. Actually,
I want to answer that. So, Dr. Jed, I'm going to mute you, and I'm going to go over to Damien. So, Damien, for you, would you to ask the girl to get rid of a religious tattoo? Because Damien says, personally, not a fan of tattoos. Once I had a girl with the Bible verse on her back, and you felt it was awkward, felt like Jesus was watching me. So would you ask her to get rid of that tattoo?
Guys, sorry for the dogs. Nah. I can't help that they're barking. But yeah, I saw that one time and I was like, look here. How can you ask someone to Jesus to
I'm
take
just
scripture
asking.
off their body? No, but the thing is, scripture is like telling someone, look here. I don't agree with this Bible verse you have over here. Thou shalt forgive, or that type of thing that was written on it. But the thing is just
Well, can I
you're
ask?
not supposed to
Can I ask where on
look
her
at.
body that the tattoo was? So you said that it was on her back. Was it on her upper back or lower back or just
Yeah, it was in the middle of her upper back. There was a
okay?
small scripture written there. Yeah, thou shalt forgive or something like that. But anyway, talking about tattoos. Now, I don't know why people get tattoos. I'm not a big fan of tattoos, and people that want to get tattoos, it's fine, they can have it. I have this one friend of mine. He's on his third marriage now, and on his second marriage, what he did, he got matching tattoos for him and his wife. On his hand there was a crown tattooed, and where his ring finger is, there was a ring tattoo, and on his second wife's hand there was a queen's type of crown, and there was a ring tattooed on her ring finger also. They divorced because of a long distance working, that type of thing. Now he's busy with his third wife now. Or is his he has a child with his third girlfriend now. I think they're supposed to get married in a year or two. Now just imagine if they get married, they have to go onto the altar. And then she has to slip a ring onto his finger. And on his ring finger, there's already a tattoo of his second wife. And there's a tattoo of a crown. Now you see how awkward tattoos are. Now, I'm just asking you, if that was your husband, you in front of God, family, and friends, you're making this vow
Oh
to this man, you
no,
have to
I'm not
slip that
saying
ring.
that.
No, 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 no,
No,
no, no,
it
just
would
listen,
piss me
just listen.
off. No, it would piss me off, but
That,
I can't make
that,
him.
would you ask him? Nah, look here, I'm built a little bit different. I would put an ultimatum over there. I'll tell my, look here, get this shit off your body, or else we're not getting married. Because now I have to slip a ring over your finger in front of God, family, and the priest, where where, where there's a tattoo over. You understand what I'm saying? It's a little bit messed up.
In front
That's
of
why I'm not a fan of tattoos.
God, family, and
You're doing
priest.
it in front of God, eh? And the thing is, look, I'm a Catholic, so I'm not. We don't believe in divorce, nah. Now you you know how religion is. You can bend the rules now and then. You can tell God, look here, I didn't know this person was married, but God would. But if I want to go to heaven one day, God will tell me, look here, but there was evidence on that lady's finger. There's a tattoo over there showing you there was a ring, and you still committed the sin of marrying someone else's wife inside the church, and what's his name, in front of friends and family. You understand what I'm saying? So that's why I'm not a fan of tattoos. So I would put the ultimatum. I would be like, look here, bruv, if you want to marry me, get rid of that scripture or tattoos, that type of thing of your body.
God, family,
That's
and
just my
priest.
personal.
No, I mean,
Yeah, you lie in front of everybody, but
no,
that's just my
I
personal
know.
opinion.
And Dee says you can't make this stuff up. I mean, no, I mean, Damien, you have made some very good points, and yes, I would have to say, dear, darling, whatever. I don't think we are going to get married. Oh boy.
And look here,
I'm
I've watched this. Sorry, man. I've watched this one show, Tattoo Junkies or something, and then people get tattoos in awkward places, and I was like, bruv, why do you want to do that? You're not gonna get married ever again. And then the guys with tattoo on the genitals, like property of Jennifer. No, look here. I'm asking you, solid bastard.
I mean, okay, first of all,
Look here, look here, look here, look here, look here, look here.
if it's on the if
You
it's
are
on the
in.
genitals, okay.
But just imagine, you're in
First
love.
of all, if
Okay,
it's
you're in
on
love
the
with your husband.
genitals,
You want to get married to this guy. Then you want to get married to your husband and everything. And on his genitals is written property of Brianna.
okay, but you know what though? Brianna will be the only one. Brianna would have been the only one seeing that because I would not be seeing that at all. So, so that should answer your question. If it's property of Jennifer, then my husband doesn't ever have to worry about me seeing it, looking at it, touching it, or anything else. So
That's why I'm not a fan of tattoos, and I don't date girls with tattoos since that last experience.
okay, so Crucible, I am making my way back to you, Damien. I'm going to mute you, and I'm going to go to Shelby.
Yeah,
Shelby. I'm sorry, and Brina, this is like a Thursday show. Y'all have me cracking up now. Y'all just have me. I'm still trying to get over the in front of God, priest, and so that was funny. That was funny. Okay, Shelby.
You gotta read comments first.
I can't. Brenda says it's like a Thursday show. Yes, I am tickled. I am tickled.
You gotta go further up.
GB says if it's your first time in Vegas, you got to get a tattoo. Nope, sorry. Oh boy. Shelby says yes,
Okay.
you do. Oh my God, that tattoo with her. T-Mac, you see? And Brenda says, I don't have any tattoos yet, but this conversation is making me prolong getting one even more. Brina, Sabrina, Veronica, so GP would it be the same if it was Joe, Sam, or Mike? Rita said that was good. I would say a Bible verse on the back is worse it's worse than a man's name. So does that mean that I can't get a tattoo of Jesus? Would you all tell me to take it off? I mean, oh my goodness. Okay. All right, y'all. Okay, Shelby, this is a serious show now.
Whatever. What was the question?
I don't know what the question was. I forgot the question. Was there a question? Shelby, I'm gonna go to Crucible. Crucible, you have something you want to say?
Well, now I'm trying to decide if I should still be friends with the friends that I have tattoos. Now I'm conflicted. We started out talking about friends, and now I'm starting to think maybe I got to get rid of the friends that have tattoos because I don't like tattoos. But I'll figure it out.
That's judging somebody, Crucible.
I'll figure it out. I'm a judgmental person, Shelby.
That's well, you shouldn't be that way.
That's another show, Shelby.
Sorry, can I just say something? Sorry. Sorry.
Yes,
can I just say something?
Yes, David, you can say something. Then GP, I'm gonna come to you. David, go
Okay, I'm just gonna say something and mute myself. You just said you can't be judgmental, but I think in that situation you can be judgmental because God is watching you and is judging you at that moment. So you can be judgmental. And now I'm muting myself.
Okay, God is watching us all the time, and we're all doing crazy stuff. GP, you want to jump in here? GP, you have something you want to add?
No, I've got nothing right now. I've got nothing.
Oh my goodness, y'all! I got nothing right now either. I don't have anything. Oh my goodness, this conversation. Oh my goodness. Crucible, I'm back to you.
Well, I don't know if we've solved anything here, but I think it's given people some real food for thought when it comes to these personal decisions. And until you're in that situation, you don't know what you would do. Whether it's a necklace or whether it's a tattoo. I mean, tattoos are. I think GP said it best. Or DMAG maybe. There's a difference between a sweater, a T-shirt, and something on somebody's body. Particularly, I mean, the body's very personal, but then when you put a name or some other intimate object or words on the body, it just reinforces the personal nature of it. And I think, like in any relationship, you made a good point earlier, Solid. Where do you draw the line? Okay, I want you to get rid of that T-shirt. Okay, I got rid of the T-shirt. I want you to get rid of that watch. Okay, I want you to get rid of the vintage car. Okay, now we might have a problem. So where do we draw the line in saying these gestures that I'm requiring or requesting of you show that you respect me and you care about me, but also that person has an independence. They're an individual. They should be allowed to some extent to make decisions about their own bodies. So I think it's an interesting dilemma, a philosophical and moral dilemma about how do you maintain your independence and individuality, but still try to satisfy the needs of your partner in terms of respect. I think we had a good time with it. It was hilarious, but it really is a serious dilemma that goes beyond just tattoos. It's how do we engage our partners, respect them, but still push back on areas that we are uncomfortable with.
Okay. Okay. Damien is saying, oh no, you make me laugh again, Damien. Damien's saying, guys, be professional. Okay. And then GB says, what if your baby's daddy's name is, okay, are you saying Jesus or Jesus? Because let's go with Jesus. What if your child's father's name was Jesus? Are you going to tell them to get rid of that tattoo? Crucible?
No, I would not go there. No, that's a little bit more beyond above my pay grade. That involves fire and brimstone and perpetual damnation.
I'm being totally serious. If your child's father's name was Jesus, would you tell or insist on your girlfriend, wife, whatever, getting rid of that tattoo? And if so, or if not, then why does that name get a pass, but Joe doesn't, or Mike doesn't, or Jennifer? Why?
Well, I mean, the pronunciations, that's an interesting distinction that you make. I mean, what's the difference between what if my girlfriend or my wife says that's a tattoo of Jesus, and you say, no, that's a tattoo of Jesus, the busboy at the restaurant you work at. There's a difference in terms of how we're going to pronounce it. How do you resolve that argument? If you see it, potato kind of a thing, there's a big difference between Jesus and Jesus.
Yes, there is. But again, I'm asking the question: if my child's father's name was Jesus and I had Jesus on my body, I mean, is that going to bug? I mean, should that bug your partner? I mean,
it's a little bit of an ostentatious display of religion. But I wouldn't ask him to get rid of it. No, I was joking around because that's a very personal thing. And if that person feels like they're closer to God because of it, go for it.
Okay. D-Mac says, solid ain't nobody named Jesus. Can I tell you, my husband plays this video game where the guy's name is Jesus and it's a basketball game, and they call him the prophet. So I'm pretty sure at least somebody out there, somebody in this world, named their child Jesus. So come on, Solid. Yep, Jesus is watching. Oh, I hope it's not on the lower back, y'all. Okay, I said my show is gonna be an hour. Name one of I'm telling you, somebody out there has the name Jesus. I know somebody does. I mean, people name their children all kinds of names. So I know somebody out there has the name Jesus, at least one person. All right, I'm going to make my rounds. Last word, Shelby, you want to go?
I just want to say it's been a good
And
show.
please,
I really
please be
enjoyed myself.
professional.
Um, um,
Late.
I think that everybody has their own opinion about everything. Uh, but yeah, it was a very good show.
All right, Crucible, you have any last words?
Yeah, this was a great show. The segue into the tattoo thing, because it really is, it gets into personal relationships, just like friendships are. But, I just, on a serious note, as somebody who's a little bit older these days, I mean, I try to be a little forward looking in terms of how you maintain your relationships. Things are going to change, and you're going to regret if you burn a bridge or leave somebody behind over something petty or something, stupid. There's all kinds of ways to maintain friendships. They don't have to be the same as they were on day one, but they don't have to be discarded altogether. So, had I been a little bit more diligent or vigilant, I should say, when I was younger, I would have had be in a different friendship situation right now. Perhaps, maybe not. Other things could have changed it as well. But I think a little bit of forward looking in terms of I'm not always going to be 25. I may want these friends 30 years from now. So maybe make a little bit of a different effort knowing that things change and you may have some regrets. But anyway, this was a real fun show.
Well, this should have been my Thursday show. So no, everyone has made good points. So again, I do believe that in terms of friendships, you should try to maintain them, and I do know that people change, people grow, people move. People leave the state, leave the country, whatever. But if you can maintain those friendships, a good solid friendship is something that to me is just worth keeping. And in terms of the tattoo, we can go into this. I have mixed feelings on it, whatever. But everybody brought up some really good points. And on that note, I'm going to leave us with a little bit of gospel. I'm going to leave us with I surrender all. So y'all surrendering your friendships, you're surrendering your tattoo, you're surrendering Jennifer, Jesus, Jesus, whatever. So that is what I'm going to leave everybody with today. But thank you everyone for coming up on the panel. I do appreciate it. So thank you, Damien, Jed, GP, Crucible, and Shelby. Did I leave anyone out? I don't think I did. And thank you everyone for liking the show. I do appreciate it. So here we go. And I hope to see you guys tomorrow. And that's it, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your day and evening wherever you are in the world. Thank you